Hello travelers, in this episode we are going to share with you tips for first-time cruisers. Stay tuned. If you are watching with us for the first time, we are Jason and Kelly. Today's episode is about sharing with you tips for first-time cruisers, and we really want to help everyone that's watching, if you're cruising for the first time, to have the best experience possible. So that's what today is about. We are going to share with you 10 of our top tips for first-time cruisers. And stay tuned to the end, because at the very end we're going to share with you a bonus power tip. It's something we do. It's a way you can save a lot of money for that cruise that you have planned. And we're just super excited about this, so we're going to go ahead and roll into it with tip number 1.
Here we go. Tip number 1. Drop off your luggage first. So oftentimes when you get to the port area, you're usually going to have to take a shuttle bus from where you park to the cruise terminal. So what we suggest is go ahead, go to the cruise terminal first, drop off your luggage, then go park, get on the shuttle bus. That way you don't have to lug your luggage up and down the shuttle bus, and it's just a lot easier.
And that is such a key tip, because we did that exactly for such a long time. We would be dragging it along, and somebody shared with us like, hey, why don't you drop it off? You just drop it off anyway. Why don't you do that at the beginning? And we're like, we never thought about that. It just saves you so much hassle. So definitely do that one.
Yep.
And here's tip number 2. Tip number 2 is you want to make sure to take a picture of your parking shuttle bus. When you park near a port, usually you're going to be 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away, something like that. They're going to drop you off at the terminal and you're going to get going. Now listen, on day 1, you have no trouble remembering that you parked at such and such parking. The problem is when you arrive back from your cruise on day 5 or day 7 or whenever it is, and you walk out of the terminal, you're so sad, the cruise is over, and you see a sea of parking shuttles. And there's park and ride, and ride and park, and
park
maybe
and go.
park and go, and you're like, crying out loud, which one do we park at? And you don't know where to go. So it seems so not needed on day 1, but if you just take time to take a picture of the shuttle company that you rode in with and that parking garage or parking system, then it's going to save you a lot of headache when you arrive back, right?
Absolutely. Here we go. Tip number 3. Go ahead and pack your swimsuit in your carry-on. And a lot of times when you get to your room, your suitcase won't have arrived yet. So go ahead, put your swimsuit in your carry-on, and you go ahead and change and be lounging out at the poolside while you wait for your luggage.
Yeah, and let us know down in the comments. Are you a person who likes to take some time swimming, or do you think you would just hang out poolside? What do you think? If you're a swimmer, let us know below, and we'll roll into tip number 4. Speaking about that carry-on, now listen, tip number 4, make sure you put your hygiene items that you want access to in your carry-on. Here's what happens. You get on board, you're going around doing stuff, you don't see that luggage for several hours, and by the time you've had some buffet lunch and all of this, and you're going back, you're like, man, we don't have our luggage yet still, and you're like, oh, my breath, or all this different stuff.
We don't want stinky breath.
No, you don't want that. So the items you may think that you would want access to if you're going to go for several hours, go ahead and toss them in that carry-on. That way you can be freshened up, you can go to some entertainment, do some different stuff, and feel fresh all along the way.
Yes. Tip number 5, if you think you may get seasick, when you're booking your cruise, go ahead and book a room that's midship and closer to one of the lower levels. Now, we are getting ready to do a whole video series on things to do to help you with seasickness. So make sure you subscribe, and that video will be coming out really soon.
Yeah, and with that, if you think you might get seasick or you get motion sickness, like maybe traveling in cars and stuff, maybe the kind of thing you want to go ahead and check with your doctor. When we do the episode, we're going to share that there is a doctor prescription that's like the kingpin to take care of this. So if you think you may want to go get that doctor prescription before you even go. But more info on our next video.
But if you do forget it, you can actually get some medicine at the customer service counter.
That's true. That's true. So either way. But here is tip number 6. Tip number 6 is make sure you check the cruise line's beverage policy before you go. Here's why we say that. When we are in processing in, almost every time we go on a cruise, there are full bins where people have brought beverages that they're not allowed to take in, and so it just gets confiscated. So make sure you check the beverage policy for your cruise line, because there are certain types that you can bring and certain types you can't. Sometimes they allow a beverage of certain types, but only in specific types of containers. And so there's different things like that. Certain quantities you can bring, but not beyond that. You don't want to waste money and time lugging something that's going to get taken away. So just make sure you check that policy. Saves you time and money.
Absolutely. And if you are finding any of this information useful, please like and comment below and let us know.
And then we roll right into tip number 7, and that is, if you're a first-time cruiser, make sure you check your cruise line's daily newsletter. Doesn't matter what cruise line you're selling, they all have one. And what this is a brochure or just a sheet of paper that gives all of the activities, all of the key events for a day that you're there on the cruise line. So make sure you check that out, because there's so many cool things going on throughout the day, and you don't want to miss something that you would truly love. So just take that moment and make sure you know what's going on your cruise ship, and it'll make you have the best experience possible.
Yes, and they will usually put those newsletters in your room the night before.
Yep.
So it's really fun. After you come in from a long night, you can kind of go through and be like, okay, what's the plan for tomorrow? And so it's a great thing to have.
Yeah, and on day 1 when you come in, usually it's going to be laid out either on a counter or dresser or there on the bed, laid there for you to take it and know what's going on from the moment you arrive on the ship.
Yeah. Okay, tip number 8, the poolside seating fills up really fast, especially on the days at sea. So if you want a great seat at poolside, get there early in the morning.
Just a bonus tip to go along with that. Don't forget your sunscreen. We'll cover this in our future packing videos. And also, there's some different items that's good to help your poolside time as well. So we'll put that in some of our cruise nice to haves list. That'll be down in the description. And tip number 9, we'll roll into that. When you're on a cruise, make sure you get all the food that you want. Here's why I'm saying this. You know, when you go there, sometimes you're at dinner and there's 2 different types of appetizers. One that you've never tried but you would love to, and one that you know that you love. And you're like, Wrestling, which one do I go with? When you're on a cruise, one of the key things is you can have both. It's okay to say, hey, I want 2 mains, I want 2 appetizers, I want 2 desserts. Your server is going to have no trouble with that. That they want to make you happy and they want to give you everything you want. That is not a problem. Along with that, let's say you get something that you don't like. You thought you'd like it, or you wanted to try something. You know, when we're at restaurants here back in the States, if we have something we don't like, a lot of times we'll just go ahead and eat it. We don't send stuff back to the cook or nothing like that. But when you're on a cruise, it is totally acceptable. Again, they're fine. They'll bring you the whole kitchen if you want. They want you to enjoy yourself, and that is their main objective. So go ahead, get 2. Send something back, or don't even send it back. Just grab another one and get everything you want in terms of food, and you'll have the best food cruise experience that you possibly can.
Yes, and along with that, a lot of times the servers, they really enjoy recommending certain appetizers. You know, they've been on the ship for a while, they've tried everything, and so they like to recommend stuff. We, a lot of times, will say, hey, what do you recommend? And we'll give it a try. Yeah,
in our most recent cruise, we went on Norwegian. We'll link that. But we would show up to dining, and we'd say, hey, bring each of us what you would say is the best in terms of the appetizer and everything. And we just went with their recommendations, and it was great.
It was fabulous. Wonderful food.
Absolutely.
Okay, tip number 10, bring a little sticky pad notebook. And you say, why would you bring that? Well, a lot of times if you're traveling with several people, you may split up on the ship and you don't have the ability to text. So if you want to try to figure out where each other's at on the ship, you can just come in and leave a little sticky note on the mirror or something and say, hey, I'm at the pool, or hey, I'm going to get dinner, or whatever. And plus it's nice to get sweet little notes from your husband. Hint, hint.
I don't know if the heart, can you guys see a heart? I'm going to turn it around that way. But yeah, so sweet. But look, if you're cruising for the first time, these ships are big. So like she said, if you can't text, you know, you don't want to get in a thing where you're going up to the pool deck to find them and they're coming down to get you, and you're going back and forth.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're frustrated because you spent 2 or 3 hours trying to link up for this thing you were going to do. So that's just a way that if you know everybody's like, hey, if we get separated, we can't link up, you know, do that. We'll help you out a lot. So that's huge. All right, so we have covered the 10 tips, but don't click out yet, because now we're going to share with you that bonus power tip. This is something we have done, I don't know if I would say every time, but maybe every single time, yeah. Except for maybe our honeymoon cruise 20 years ago. But this is something that we do every single time. And also, it just helps the cost. If you plan a long ways out, we'll help you. Kelly, go ahead and share that with them.
Okay, here it is. Take advantage of the travel reward credit cards. There are a lot of great cards out there that give you great points when you spend money. And then also a lot of these cards, what they're doing is they are giving you a bonus sign-on. So if you open up a new account and you spend a certain amount of money in a certain amount of time, some of these cards will give you $500, $600, $700 in either travel points or a cashback rebate on your account. It is a great way to save some money, big time money.
Yeah, when we went on the Carnival Fantasy back in April, I really don't think we had to pay a dime for that. And it's not because we had some big thing given to us or a sponsorship. Literally, we just did exactly what she's saying there. Now, there's a caution with the credit cards too, right?
There is a caution. I do want to caution this. If you're going to do this and you're going to use the travel points, you need to make sure that whatever you're charging on your credit card, you need to pay it off at the end of every month. Because if you don't, you're going to accrue finance charges. And then in the long run, it's going to hurt you as opposed to help you. So make sure you pay off that credit card every month.
Yeah, and we are big proponents of biblical financial principles, so we want to stay clear of debt. We want to live within our means. But when you can use some of these things that are available and actually get something for free back, if you can do that in a disciplined way, then it's something great to do. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we hope this has been helpful. If so, let us know by liking it, comment it, share additional tips, maybe something that you would add to the list that we gave. And also, if you want to see what it's like to go on that first day and all that, we share a lot of detail in our vlog, so we will link one of those below. And so you check that out and you'll get a feel for what it is like arriving on that cruise ship. Thank you so much for watching. God bless.